Hi, my name is Dorian, and this is You, Me, in the Industry. A show which got so immensely popular that on this episode I don't have one, but yes, two guests with me. I am joined by Stefan Lange and the lovely Flora from Radical Fish Games, a German game development studio which recently released their incredible title Crosscode for consoles, and I personally think it is one of 2020's raddest games. We discuss starting in the industry, having imposter syndrome, get behind the scenes information on the Crosscode development cycle, and we somehow very often talk about whales. Yep, that's it, whales. Here we go. Hello everyone and welcome to the show. Today I'm very excited to be able to have a chat with two awesome game developers from Germany. And they worked on a game that is not only not a point-and-click adventure game, but is also an awesome retro-style RPG called Crosscode. Here with me today is... Okay, and yeah, please bear with me. I'll try to freestyle this as hard as possible. Flora, Valentina, Valerius, Ben, Abdeslam, Ben, Modeslam, Ben, Omar, Mohammed, Abdeslam, and I guess Stefan Lange. And I think I nailed this. Did I nail it?
It was pretty good. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. I guess. This was a very long name, and you already earned the award of probably having the longest name of any guest I will ever have on my show.
Yay!
Awesome. Yeah. So maybe we start with that. What is the reason, or what is the origin behind this long of a name?
The reason is pretty simple, actually. So, first of all, it's I don't have this name on paper because I got this name basically from my mother's side, and she dropped the name because you always have to pay extra when you get your license, when you get your driver's license, etc. And bureaucracy sucks, basically. And but the reason is just my grandfather, I think, on my mother's side is from Morocco, and there it's tradition to what's it called? Erben?
Inherit, I think.
To inherit the name of your father, I guess. So Ben always means son, and then there's a name. Ben, Mohammed, Ben, Abdeslam, Ben, etc., etc.
Oh, wow. That's very interesting. Yeah, Stefan, I mean, what's up with that? Like, how is it your name is only this short?
I come from East Germany, so there's your explanation.
Yeah. I mean... Not everyone can have an awesome long name, I guess.
I have a very generic name.
Yeah, but I mean it's still awesome, like short and sweet is the way how sometimes the Germans handle it.
At least you can make a good pun with it.
Really?
Yeah, you can. At least in German.
It's pretty long.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay. Now I see it. Okay. It took me quite a bit. And like I already said, you two worked on the game Crosscode, and which recently released on Switch and other console platforms, like PlayStation 4 and Xbox, and was released I guess 2 years ago on PC, and had a very long development cycle, which I will dive into in just a bit. But like we usually do here at the show, is we ask the guest if they have a topic to bring to the show. So you two people, do you have a topic to talk about?
I have. Do you want to start though, Flora?
Okay. First of all, wait. What's it called in English? The Klinkenstecker.
Line in, I guess.
Line-in cables suck.
Oh, really?
They're really old technology, and they break all the time. And they don't go with the time, in my opinion.
Okay. So do you think there will be any meaningful updates in the future, or will there be a Kickstarter campaign?
I mean, there are alternatives already, like XLR cables and stuff. which work much, much better and are much more stable. And I guess the technology will move to wireless more and more. But still, it's often used and they break all the time, and I guess they're cheap, but they suck.
Okay, yeah. I mean, hopefully we will get the soon-awaited upgrade on all platforms, I guess.
I hope so.
Line in 2.0.
Yeah, I mean, this is those things can bother people. Like just the small things in life are maybe the most bothersome.
You waste a lot of money on them if they easily break. That's for sure. Yeah. Because usually they come with a cable, and then you have, unless you are an engineer and know how to weld these things, you sit there and think like, okay, I now throw away what is basically completely intact metal, but that one part is broken and I can't use it anymore. And wireless kind of gets rid of that, right? No more cables.
Yeah, I mean, Germany is still very resistant when it comes to technology and digitalization, and I also assume wireless as well.
And also game development.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's it's a perfect segue, but I will restrain myself.
We use it later. It's fine.
Yeah, it's perfect. You will ask the game development questions later on. And yeah, and do you have a topic for us?
My topic, I always love to talk about it, is menus in video games. To be honest.
Okay, menus like in the food menu or the menu system.
No, like menus in games like you open up a UI, an interface, and how interfaces are structured and how well you can handle them is always fascinating to me. It's actually funny because there's this meme that programming menus is not something programmers like to do. But for me, I absolutely love it. I could do it all day, every day. And
the reason he's on the team.
The reason I'm on the team.
Yeah. The USP.
What?
The unique selling proposition of
your That's actually true, yeah. That's why I got on the team. I'm very good at making menus.
Okay, so are there any games of recent memory that have like really incredible menus?
I think Neo 2. I mean, Neo 1 had a good menu, so Neo 2 has a good menu too, I guess. But otherwise, I'm very, very particular about menus. So even in some modern games, like the latest game, Ghost of Tsushima, I don't like the menu. I don't. I think it's they tie in the menu very much into your gameplay, and you have a lot of holding this button down to change an item, and it's so convoluted and strange. And I think like maybe there wasn't enough time for them to come up with something that makes more sense. But overall, I think the menu could be more streamlined, and like almost every menu in game dev, it could be faster. And there still seems, you remember, like back when there was like Super Nintendo and you would go into a menu, the screen would fade to black, and then you would fade to menu again. And that was a limitation of the hardware, for sure. And still, even today, especially in Japanese games, they have menus that take a whole second to start up, or they have a fade in of 1 second. And I personally, I'm too old for this beep.
You can curse here. That's okay with me.
Yeah, I'm too old for this. Like, I like my menus fast because I don't have that much time anymore to like wait for an animation. And in I know we don't talk about crosscode yet, but in crosscode we have all transitions are faster than 1 second. They're only 0.2 seconds long. And I think, and I don't understand really why a lot of games still do this thing where they spend these long animations on anything when it really should be more user-friendly. You want to go into the menu, you want to change something, and you want to go back in. That's why I like Neo 2. It's not the prettiest menu, but it's very fast. You can open it fast, you can go through it fast, you can change stuff very fast. That's awesome. That's all I want.
Yeah, and with the recent crosscode patch, we also have the direct difference. You can check, like before it was on Switch, there was some of the menus were a little bit had some loading to it, but now like they're all smooth and shiny and they are very crisp. And yeah, it's awesome to see how much a small change can make for the gameplay experience.
Yes, definitely. I mean, that was also because we used some very dark magic in JavaScript to create some UI element, and that would basically cause the menus to create huge amounts of graphics every frame and every time you would go into a menu, and that's why it lagged. And changing that small thing, making sure it doesn't create a new image every time, and bam, everything's fixed. I'm very thankful for that. Oh man.
Okay. Yeah. I'm thankful too, I guess. All right then. So yeah, you two are from Radical Fish Games, and Flora is responsible for creating the sounds and yeah, I guess the sound design of the game. And Stefan, you're responsible for the programming side.
Programming and also area. Environmental design.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe let's start very broadly. So how do you both join Radical Fish Games, and maybe how do you all got into game development in the first place?
Do you want to start?
Go ahead.
Okay. I started when I was around 12. A friend gave me the CD and it said RPG Maker 2000 on it. And I didn't have a PC, so I went to a friend. And there was this forum for the RPG Maker 2000. And this is where I basically connected to all my friends. Like, I met Flora there, I met Felix there, and not the whole team, but most of the team I know from this one forum. And I joined Felix when I was finished with my bachelor. I was kind of like, okay, what do you want to do? What's your future? And I was like, okay, I want to do game development, that's for sure. And I knew Felix wanted to do it too. So I talked with him, hey, let's create a game studio and make games together. And that's basically how the whole thing started. I started the whole company with Felix, though nowadays he's mostly responsible for everything. That's why the company is called Radical Fish. Radical comes from me and the fish side from him. And yeah, that's my story.
And was there any reason for choosing Radical?
Yeah, so my handle on the internet is RD, which stands for Regiden, but a friend once said that it stands for Radical Dude, because I get very animated when I play some games.
Okay.
I get very hyped up, and
that's rad. Yeah, okay.
That's radical. And then I kind of adopted that, and yeah.
Okay, my story is pretty similar. I started with the RPG Maker 2. I found it on the Screen Fun back then. I think I was 8 when I started making small, stupid games with it. And later on, when I got older, I learned Latin. And I stumbled upon the word forum. And I didn't know what it meant on the internet. I didn't know what a forum actually was. So I was curious and clicked on it and found, oh my god, there are many other people doing the same thing I love. And yeah, so I joined the community there too. And a bit later, I started to go to a gathering and in Bremen. And that's where I met Stefan and Felix and the others too. And back then, I was just doing music in FL Studio as a hobby, and I was kind of bad at it, but I was learning it. And Felix was just asking me, "Hey, I heard you make music. Do you think you can make sound effects too?" And I was like, "I don't know. I can try." And yeah, that's how it started basically with the prototype of Crosscode back then in 2011, I think that was.
Yeah, I actually have the timeline in front of me, and I wanted to ask about this as well. But yeah, it seems you're a self-taught sound designer then, I guess?
Completely.
Okay. Yeah, so like, yeah, maybe we can jump off with that. Do you have any, like, what are any stories of you like struggling and you're like, what am I doing? Like, they're like all the memes, like, what am I doing here? Like a dog sitting in front of like a keyboard or something? Like, what is going on here?
So yeah, at the beginning, I was really struggling to make any good sound effects. I think I was pretty inventive with stuff. So I had a very, very basic microphone for like 30 euros or something. And I just took objects and recorded some sounds and tried to make something out of it because I didn't really know how to synthesize sounds. And not many sounds survived from that time, but there's actually one sound I'm still really happy about. It's the jump sound.
Okay.
And that's a plastic bag I just stuffed on the microphone and ripped it off, basically.
Oh, wow.
And that makes the sound. That's I still think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And actually, when we first started out to for the Indiegogo campaign, we needed some like more professional sounds, especially for the important sounds. So for the attack sounds, melee, throwing balls and stuff. So there are some sounds made by another professional sound designer. Do you know this name, Stefan?
Iron.
Iron, right.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure like credit's due where credit's due. And he made a lot of the fighting sounds, the elemental sounds. And I learned a lot from it, basically. I studied the sounds and I tried to replicate them over the years. And I made a lot of the additional sounds over the time. And I got better equipment that helped too. I got a better microphone, a portable recorder, so I can go outside and record sounds. That helped a lot. I got a better PC.
Okay, yeah, awesome.
And I got a license for FL Studio. That's pretty good too. And yeah, I basically just watch tutorials all the time. Try to get feedback from others, and I'm very self-critical too. So I always have the I always want to get better at it, and
we're not making it easy for you.
It's fine. That's fine. I'm very happy when I get constructive feedback, and like negative feedback can be more constructive than positive feedback most of the time.
Yeah, and can we just assume that you went with the portable recording equipment to record the whale singing to create the big wave ball sound effects, or how did you get those sounds?
Those are actually the whale sounds are from a library, because it's really hard to get these sounds yourself.
What, in Germany? I mean, you can't just there are whales everywhere. Haven't you played Death Stranding? Practically looks like this over here.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe next time. But yeah, for those are the sounds I had the most fun with it, because we very early on when we started, we already said that that's the dubstep element.
Okay.
And it was like when dubstep was very popular, and we joked around, that's the element, that's the whoop whoop sounds and stuff, and we didn't actually know how it's gonna be sounding. But luckily, Overwatch came around, and there's a hero called Lucio, and his sound effects when he shoots and when he uses his abilities are exactly what I had in mind. So I was very inspired by it, and I actually showed it to Iron too, so he can make some sounds with it too. And for the wave sounds, I added tons of stuff. There's whale sounds, there's wind sounds, there's water sounds, there's the dubstep sounds, as I said. And I wanted to go a bit over the top with it and maybe experiment a bit how far I can go and still make it. I wanted to give it a really distinguishable texture, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess the follow-up question, which is very related, is: are you a Mercy main?
No, I'm a Lucio main.
Oh. No, I actually thought I had big hopes that we could unite as the Mercy mains, but okay. I mean, Lucio is alright, I guess. Yeah, because I'm a Mercy main, and there are rarely people that can share the depression I feel when I play Mercy.
Oh, I mean, I play Mercy too once in a while, so I feel it on some level.
I can't. You're all too slow. Why don't you just damage buff and heal me at the same time all the time? I don't understand it. It's not that hard. Just hold left click.
Oh my god. Okay. So let's stop here. I'm already trying to bring too much into the show. This is about you, and not about my sadness with tanks. But yeah, like we already said, the timeline you already mentioned, and you all started kind of like pre-2011 with some early prototypes, and then went on with some RPG Maker stuff, and then later on with some Nintendo DS homebrew. And then it evolved from this basically into the project itself. And then, from 2011, 2014, you created this vertical slice. Basically you created this vertical slice, like I said. So what was it like to work 3 years on something like this? What went through your heads during this time?
Oh, damn. For me, it was a lot. It was doing my masters. So I also had to handle university stuff. It was basically all I did was sit in my room and work on CrossCode and do some university stuff. And I would go to bed and repeat. And I don't do this anymore, and I don't. I wouldn't recommend it. Don't do this. Go outside.
Not now.
Yeah, not now.
There's a pandemic.
Not now, maybe. Right now is a bad time for that. But once it's over, go outside. Yes. Meet your friends.
Yes.
It was crazy. Back I was so naive, I think. There was still a lot of not really realizing what would need to happen for this game to become reality. The workload, the time we would need, and all those other struggles. Like usually you grow up and then you, I don't know, get your own apartment and make food for yourself and pay bills and everything. And when you're a student, a lot of this is easier. At least for me, it was easier because the government in Germany is very helpful when you have low income parents. And I was also living inside a student home, which was right on the campus. So I had a 5-minute footpath to my lectures, and that was great. So I didn't spend a lot of time going from A to B. But yeah, I kind of forgot what I wanted to conclude with.
Okay, no, I mean I can relate it. It has to be like a very stressful time. Also, I guess since you have never done something like this before, there's also this big unknown. Like how are things supposed to go? How is a project supposed to evolve into something you can sell or something you can market as?
Yeah. I was super convinced that CrossCode will be an amazing game. I knew from the beginning, and I still think it's an amazing game. I still think we did a good job with it. I know you shouldn't praise yourself and everything, but I love my child, okay? It's a good game. We did well with this one. And
that's fair.
I think I think people are allowed to say that they worked on an awesome game. I'm pretty sure that I don't know, like can you imagine Miyamoto going to bed and saying, you know what? I think A Link to the Past was pretty was a pretty shit game, right?
It was it was 5 out of 7.
Yeah, I mean he's probably high-fiving himself every time he releases something new. You know, like all right, we killed it again with Breath of the Wild. High five me.
Yeah, I mean, I think people should be proud on what they did, and also should be allowed to be proud or like have this idea of their game being great, right? We all have different preferences anyway, so obviously for shooter fans there isn't much in the game, at least. Well, there are throwable balls, but that's it. You don't go around in some world war. It's more about anime characters. So if you're not into that, then the game is not for you, and that's okay. And those people might say, "Oh, this game sucks," and that's fine too. But personally, I think it's a good game for the genre.
Yeah, and also I think it shows that your ambitions are quite high. Because the project is kind of very, very big for a small studio, and also for the first game ever made from the studio.
Dear game developers, don't do this. Trust us. Trust Radical Fish Games. Do not do an RPG for your first game.
I mean, we knew what we're doing. We knew what we're getting into, so
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, it was like if you had a time machine, what were the tips you would give yourself? Like both of you would say, like, you know what, like use the plastic bag earlier on, or something like this, or get the better mic, spend 40 euros instead of 30.
I think take more breaks. Like really have a 5-day work day, and then have like 2 days where you don't work on the game. I think really that I was less efficient when I worked 10 hours a day than I am now with 7. And that was because I was completely, after a while you just get overworked, right? You just go in a burnout. And then you kind of doing things slowly. And I think when I would go back, I would say, take it slow, it's fine.
I would say to myself, trust in yourself and believe more in yourself, because I had a lot of self-doubt. Basically until the release, I didn't really think myself of like a sound designer on a professional level. I always have the motivation to get better, but that also comes with the thinking that I'm not good enough and I should get better before I can be like proud of myself and be happy about my work and stuff. And I think that's something I learned over the years with Crosscode. Like accepting compliments. I couldn't do this back in the day.
I think you did great.
Oh, thank you.
I think you killed it both. Let's be honest here. I think
Thank you so much.
Let's all be positive.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the vibe on the internet changed too over the year to more positivity and more wholesomeness. And when I grew up, there was a lot of criticism, and I actually I seeked out, as I said before, I seeked out negative criticism because then I have things I can do better, but at the same time not ignored by that, but I didn't really believe in positive feedback. So I was like, sure, but they don't really mean it or something like that in my head, right? And yeah, that's of course not very healthy, but I learned over the years to to have a healthier relationship with these things.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think we should all do a better job in taking criticism, and especially positive criticism or positive feedback. Since I guess it's the same with me. So, sometimes I hear something positive and I'm like, it's okay. Okay, it's okay.
Yeah, we're being told so often that like we are always comparing ourselves to someone better or someone further ahead.
Exactly.
I think that leads to self-doubt a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah, and also, like when you edit all these shows and you think like, oh my god, it sounds so horrible, like, and then try to rescue everything, and then I'm thinking about like all the professionals out there with like the million subscribers, and like, oh my god, like they're also good.
Yeah.
But they started also slow and small.
Exactly, it's all experience and practice, and every time, even when you don't do a good job, you still get better. Even if you make a really small step, it's a step.
Exactly.
And that's what's count and adds up in the end.
Yes. And like, I don't see any crosscode developers on Ted Price podcast. So who's the loser now, Ted?
Exactly, Ted.
Yeah. Ted. With your big gaming podcast. I'm coming for you, Ted. You're next. Okay, yeah, all right. And with a game with such a lengthy development cycle, was there any a time where you said, well, maybe we were going in a wrong direction? Like, did we really had to make all these dungeons? Did they really have to be 2 hours long? Like why are we even, like, why am I here? Like, I should be now doing my university stuff. Like, I shouldn't listen to whale sounds. Like, what am I doing? Like, I'm just a fraud. Like, was there any point in time during this, like, I don't know, like 7 years development cycle where you had like really like what really down, where you said, oh no, this isn't really the right thing we're doing, but we had to just push through?
For me, there wasn't ever any time, because I'm just so in love with game development that, and as I said, like I was convinced that this is a good game. Actually, more towards the end, I was like, oh damn, I kind of want to work on the next project, because we already have ideas and it's the same right now, right? We're working on the DLC, but everyone is already like, oh yeah, but the next project, we already have these ideas and sometimes you get this like kind of, you get unmotivated by it. Where saying like, do we really in the DLC there was like a talk about do we really need this or that feature, right? I don't want to spoil anything.
Sure.
And the basic logic was like, we already have so much in crosscode. Do we really need more? And ultimately we said, yes, we need it. I can already spoil that. So there's something. I think we can talk more about it once the DLC is out. But in the end, I think it adds more to the game. And usually that's a great thing about us as a team. It isn't just one person that has to decide everything, right? We're a team where almost every decision is decided by 2 or more people. Felix is the creative director and always has the last word, and is kind of directing us through everything. But we are very much making every decision together, and we say like, okay, do we need this? What are the arguments in favor? What are the arguments against it? And then, yeah.
Yeah, I can just agree. I think loot boxes are the perfect addition through DLC. I totally agree.
Right.
I know.
Right.
Random
that
loot
and fishing.
Yeah, or like every ball throwing costs. Like
you can also pay. You can also pay $50, and you will get your name inserted into our random avatar list.
Oh, okay.
You can open like the search tool and see the NPC names sometimes, right? With the players.
Okay, yeah.
And you can add your own name if you want for $50.
Yeah. Oh man, that's the true value. I think, you know, like while actually playing the game, I thought, I wish I could spend more money and get less value of the game. It's like too much value. Yeah.
I sometimes feel like that's exactly what bigger companies do, right? Like they think about how can we have the least amount of game but ask for the most amount of money without people realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's basically why we have gacha games.
This is true, yeah. Yeah, we're also featuring whales
Exactly.
in gacha games.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, like the people who spend a lot of money are called whales.
All right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It all loops back.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and you already mentioned it, that how you basically work together as a team, that Felix in the end has the final say. But how is your working style in general? So do your jobs both interline with each other, or do you often, like, is there only a call between you two, like you two is in particular, every couple of every a few weeks, or is it basically like, you know, like there's a Discord and you talk just constantly 24/7 with each other?
I guess you were asking me, right?
I'm asking both of you.
Okay. I don't know, Flora, do you want to answer?
Okay. So currently, I don't know for how long. I think the last 2 or 3 years, we basically have a weekly Discord call. And we just talk about what we're doing, what we've done this week, and what we plan to do. And then for special occasions, like when we're planning a new area, new enemy types, etc., we meet up in Discord too. So maybe we can mention that we're all basically working over the internet together.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have a shared location or something. And there's always a certain order to things. So of course there's first the concept art and collecting ideas about stuff. Then the graphics are made, then the implementation, and the end there's the sound design, because you often need to tweak things first. Like when you have a new enemy type, the timings will change, the attack patterns will change, etc. So it always makes sense to add sound at the end, so we don't have to remake the sounds again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do you have something to add, Stefan?
Not really. I mean, that's basically our structure. We all work remote. We have like this big Discord server, and this is basically our office. So I have a voice channel that is called RD's office, and I will go there when I work, and other people can do the same.
We also have a lot of channels. We have a discussion channel, we have a programming channel, art channel, audio, also off topic, because we like to share memes and stuff. And so we always already know what the topic is about, what people want to talk about.
And it's not restricted to any, like, just for the artists. We only see, like, only the creative directors, just like Felix and me only see the artists. It's always, everyone can see everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And
everyone can give feedback and put in their 2 cents. And what I really like about working with Felix is when, of course, we throw crazy ideas around, and he never says just no. He always explains his reasons. He always has a reason why that wouldn't work, or why that could work, or why there's too much workload with it. And you never feel it never feels unfair or something. You always get a good reason why something could work or not.
Mm-hmm.
Felix has a very, very good foresight for these things.
Very good feeling about things.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe let's jump ahead and go right upon the release of the game. I think in 2018, we had this incremental update through early access, and then now finally we have the 1.0 version on the final release the first official release of the game. So maybe you can go give us a little behind the scenes info. What was it like to wait on the first reviews to hit to see the game pop up on Steam?
It was scary business because obviously that's like a common theme in our team. Is like we take criticism to heart, and especially when there's something negative being said about the game, we often don't just ignore it, even if we like, all right, this guy is clearly angry about something in the game, and maybe this criticism comes from an emotional standpoint. Mm-hmm. But we always like, okay, maybe let's talk about it. And we don't just wait until 100 people say the same thing. It's just like 2 or 3 people say the same thing, and we're like, okay, how can we do this better? Like, what is there an easy change for us that we can implement to make it easier for maybe all those people that don't say anything, because there are a lot of people who just don't comment, right? They just stop playing or something. And so, and we got a lot of that. We got a lot of, oh, this is a critical bug. The game crashes suddenly. And we were like, oh, damn, we need to fix this. And all over the place, people were commenting on the game, and it was like, so much to take in, so much.
It was a bit overwhelming.
Yeah, it was definitely overwhelming. We already were at the point where like, okay, we just released a game, like we did the thing, right? Mm-hmm. And for me personally, it was like, oh yeah, we did that. I was. It took a while for me to really.
To realize.
Yeah, to realize that what just happened. And it's the same with the console release right now, but that's another topic. Yeah, I don't know, Flora, something to add?
Yeah, I guess I was in a bit of a privileged position because I didn't have to fix any bugs. I think for Felix, it was really stressful for a few days fixing, because you can never fix all the bugs, right? There, especially when there are big releases with many new players, there's always something coming up. But yeah, it was a bit unreal in a way that this actually happened. It felt a bit like a dream, and it took a few days to realize, oh, okay, that's actually happening, and we're doing pretty good.
That's something that felt very good about the release. I mean, we already had early access, and we had a lot of positive reviews. A lot of people were saying good things, so we already came from a place from, okay, yeah, this is we're going
too bad.
Yeah, it can't be that bad, and thankfully, like the broader audience agreed that it was a good game, not just a good game for some few people that are the people that we most engage with, right? Like the people on Discord, and there are some people that are there that were there from the very beginning, that are still there, that now are moderators on our Discord servers. And
I think around that time we actually added a new channel to our Discord called Nice Words.
Yes.
Because Felix and Stefan got a lot of emails from people praising the game, and of course the rest of the team doesn't have access to the email, and that's a place where we can post messages we get, and that's I love it. I sometimes just go through it when I feel bad or something, and feel like, okay, we actually accomplished something and made people happy and had an impact on something, on people.
Yeah, and was there a certain event that made you really realize that this is now a real thing? So maybe for Stefan, is there like was it like how was it like to finally have a crosscode on the Nintendo Switch since you're a big Nintendo fan?
Oh damn! It was so weird. Like when I got the key from our publisher a few days earlier, and I started this on the Switch, and I was like, I immediately felt like how my tears would swell up, and I was like, we did it. We somehow did it. Like I never thought we would be here at what was basically my childhood. Nintendo was my childhood, and I now have a game on this console, and people play this game, and it's something I'm very proud of. It's not just the stuff I made before, but it has a story. It has everything I wanted from a game, and it's just I was so happy about it.
Yeah, same.
Awesome, yeah. Yeah, and I also have some very kind of like random specific questions for each of you. So there was this big Reddit AMA, and you all talked about your favorite characters from the game, and I think the only person who chickened out was Stefan, right? You can't decide, but now with the hindsight of Reddit, like now with Corona upon you, like there's like this like omnipresent doom around us. So maybe now you can decide. What is the best character or your favorite character of the game?
Oh damn, that's so hard. I think when I have to choose, I think it's Apollo.
Okay.
It has to be. It's like a close call between Emily and Apollo.
Yeah.
Those were characters that Felix and I very early on were thinking about, and I actually drew a rough sketch of Apollo, which is the design we took because Felix was like, okay, let's take it.
Okay.
And I didn't even like. I was thinking like it would be funny if he was wearing a mask all the time, and for some reason, yeah. And I love his attitude, the way he's challenging Leah, and also his I kind of like this relationship he has with the whole team and how it evolves over the game, right? Without spoiling something, but the game is out for like 3 years, so. And yeah, it's just a job well done, and it's just right. Felix is very good at writing, because all the stories you see in the game, like the side stories are not by him, but the main story is written by him, right? And we just basically tell him, oh yeah, this character is very, it's kind of the rival character, and he has this obsession with justice, and the whole name is basically stolen from
Ace Attorney,
Phoenix, right?
Yeah, Ace Attorney.
Yeah, from Ace Attorney, right, Ace Attorney. And that's where he got his pointer from. Like, we said, hey, he could point like that, right? And obviously that was a clear reference, and we just took it. We just took it. It's fine. and it worked out to such a great character that also has some depth to him, right? He also has his friend, his boyfriend, Jörn. And he adds a more texture to Apollo himself. Like, obviously there's more to him than just a game character he likes to role play in, I guess.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and so the follow-up question is, which Ace Attorney game is the best one?
It is. It is.
Tough
it
question.
is. I think it would be. What's it called? For me, it would be Dual Destinies.
Oh, really? Dual Destinies? Oh, okay.
Dual Destinies.
Which one is Dual Destinies?
The one with the spirit medium, right?
No, that's after.
Is it the second one or third one or?
It's the it's the fourth one. It's after.
Oh yeah.
It plays
with Simon Blackwell, I think.
I haven't played the 3S titles, but my favorite is the second one, because I like the lock mechanic. It basically brought some mechanics from the courtroom to the outer spaces, which I really liked. That's been my favorite.
Yeah, and yeah, well, I would just add mine. I think it's Trials and Tribulations. I think
that's also
how it ended and wrapped everything up was awesome. Yeah,
it was
this blew my mind. It was the first game I played from Shu Takumi, and then I think I just started with Ghost Trick, I think.
Oh my god, Ghost Trick. All right. If you could have asked me of all those games and Ghost Trick, and I would say Ghost Trick is the best one.
Yeah, you're already the second guest that mentions that Ghost Trick is so good.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
It is amazing game. That's one of those games where I wish I could delete it from my brain.
This is true, yeah. Very, very true.
Just to play it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to have the story really not knowing what would happen.
True.
I guess I need to play
such a treat in this.
Oh, really?
Yes, it is.
Awesome, I haven't heard of it until now, so...
Wow.
Then, yeah, play it. I mean, I have the cartridge, so if you have a DS, I can give it to you next time we see each other.
Cool.
Stefan, you wasted 7 years of game development not mentioning Ghost Trick.
I mention Ghost Trick a lot.
Really? Okay.
Flora, you just don't listen. I actually mentioned this to Felix, and I talk about Ghost Trick a lot. Like we like gush over it. Like, oh yeah, it's such a great game.
What did you say? Sorry, I didn't listen.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the good thing is Flora can now listen to the recording in a couple of months, and then be reminded of this awesome game.
I hope so.
I will remind Alexa to remind me to give the cartridge to you.
Okay, awesome.
There we go.
And Alexa will remind the NSA to remind you.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay. And maybe a question for Flora then. With sound design, I think especially Japanese games have this very important way of thinking when it comes to sound design for the buttons and like the sound, the selecting of anything. You know, for example, like the most recent Ace Combat game, or if I had to mention one, I think to me the most memorable is still Final Fantasy VII. Was like the way the sounds of like selecting something and like the button movement, like when you move the finger, which is selecting something up and down, it has such an iconic sound. So are there any games, like modern games especially, where you think, wow, this is something really awesome and nobody pays attention to it?
That's a tough question. Because most UI sounds, especially modern UI sounds, are very subtle, which I like. I always like when it has a little bit of texture to it, so it's not just synthetic, but like I remember the Lara Croft games. You had like sounds of rumbling in your backpack or something, and working with sticks when you craft something, etc. And sorry, I can't really point a specific game out because I actually haven't played that many games in the recent years too.
Okay. I think one for me was Celeste, I think, but they excelled in everything with Celeste.
That's true.
Yeah. Celeste was really good. Yeah, but I guess I agree. It has become more subtle over the years, and I think like more of the most iconic sounds are still from like Mario and Pac-Man. All these sounds are still very ingrained into our brains.
I like Breath of the Wild a lot.
Okay.
I think the menu is very the menu sounds are very calming, and the whole game plays a lot with subtlety, but still it has a certain importance to it, like every sound in the game. And I like it when you cook and you put the ingredients in your arms. I like the sound effects of that. So I'm currently inspired by Breath of the Wild a lot.
And are you also channeling these into the new games? The Breath of the Wild?
Absolutely, yes.
Awesome. Okay. Yes, maybe one follow-up question which is related to that is how do you come up with like a cohesive sound design? So maybe you can now say, okay, like this has to be more bouncy here, or it has to be more depth here. But how do you come up with like a cohesive sound design? Do you talk with the composer Dennis a lot, or do you influence each other with the sounds you hear?
I think over the time I learned like how Intero's sound work, and for example his bass is not very loud. A lot of video game soundtracks don't have super loud bass like electronic music and stuff. And I kind of learned how much headroom I have in all the frequency rooms, and I try to use it. For example, the wave sounds, they use a lot of very, very deep bass, because I know that the frequency spectrum there is basically free, because Dennis doesn't use it a lot or that heavily. And it works for wave too, because when you use deep bass sounds, you get a lot of phasing. And the whole concept of the wave is phasing. The sound uses phasing all the time, so it's okay to have phasing issues there, basically. For other sounds, there are several tricks you can use. So for example, I use always a combination of synthetic and organic sound effects. I layer on top of each other. Because the synthetic sounds give me a lot of control about the shape of the sound and the impact of the sound, and it's a very clean bass you can have. And then on top, the organic sounds give a certain texture to it, a certain flavor basically, and you can play around a lot with it. So that's one thing. And another thing I want to mention is that that's something I used a lot for the shock and the wave sounds. I basically just make a 10 or 20 second long loop of weird sounds, like when you use the big wave ball, you have this loop of weird whale sounds and stuff. Basically, I had something like this, just a bit longer. And then I cut out samples of it and stretch them and use pitch modulation and volume modulation, and basically shape out a sound out of this texture. And that helped a lot to make them all sound like the same matter or material. But I still have a lot of control about the shape of the sound and the timing of the sound, etc.
Okay, yeah, awesome. So, and one or two final questions here. Is there something that you wish people would know about your jobs, especially as a programmer and a sound designer? Because like people usually say, game development is so easy, just like copy paste it to Switch and like emulate, like right click save as Switch game, and then it's now released or something. Is there something you wish that people would know more about game development or sound design that people don't think often enough or in depth enough how hard it actually is?
I think one thing would be, like, from the programming side, I personally love to program, so I don't mind programming stuff, but sometimes people have to realize that computer games are really software and they work inside a computer, and just because something makes logical sense in our brain, that doesn't mean that in the game it also makes sense.
Doesn't translate.
Because we only approximate realism inside the computer, and sometimes that leads to wonkiness, and that wonkiness should be accepted. It's just part of games. Bugs will always be there because of how complex games become. And the other thing is that making art, especially like a very simple example, making a skin for a 3D model, is not only just a lot of work, but also it is just time consuming. And you just as an artist, as a 3D artist, you sit hours in front of a computer screen, adjusting small points and hoping they make sense in the end. And there is no way to make this faster. And so games that have very high-end graphics and look very pretty, they just take a long time. There's no way around it. You can't paralyze the work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say too that people often underestimate the workload of even the smallest thing, and but I want to say I think things are changing a bit in the future. I think a lot of the big players, Unreal Engine and stuff, are really trying to make the workflow easier and have less what you call it? Sorry.
Friction.
Yes, less friction basically in the workflow. That doesn't mean it's less work. It does rather mean you can do more with the same workload.
Okay, yeah. Then thank you both for joining this podcast. I hope you had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
And,
thank you.
Yeah, I have one final question. Since CrossCode is now slowly nearing its end after the DLC will be released in, I don't know, upcoming months, I guess, or probably next year. I don't know. Who knows at this point? So the question is, will you both return to the incredible Mr. Hat series after you finish CrossCode?
Oh, that's so nice you mentioned that. Oh boy, I don't know. Maybe we will at some point return to Mr. Hat. And I hope I actually don't think, because the story I had in my head for that game is very depressing.
Okay.
I don't want to do this anymore.
The positivity changed you.
But maybe we take his design. Actually, that's a great idea. Thank you for that.
Awesome. Yeah, great. Then you have to, I guess, credit me in some form.
I'll try to remember.
I'm just kidding. Glad I could contribute to that. Yeah. In all honesty, you have to actually credit a friend of mine who gave me this advice, asking this question.
Awesome.
So
well, okay.
I guess this is a shout out to Jonas. So I guess you have to give props to him, not to me.
Nice.
I knew exactly. He's a friend of ours too, I think.
Oh, okay. So I guess this is, and again, full circle again, like with the whale.
Yeah.
So maybe you can tell the people where they can find you on Twitter, on the Instagrams, and what you want to share, and what are you working on, and where can people find you?
You go ahead.
My Twitter is Teflorator. On SoundCloud, I'm Teflonator with an N, for now at least. And I want to say for the next game, I'm not just making sound design. I will also do some graphics programming and a lot of shaders. And I hope I can show things off in the future.
And you can find me at Radical Regidan on Twitter, I think. And the next game will be shorter, I'm sorry, but it will be awesome.
Yes.
Will be shorter, I'm sorry. Okay. Perfect ones to end on. But since we have the incredible Flora here, would it be possible to finish the podcast with an exit noise, like you can create a sound where people leave you.
Oh.
And then we close off the show with a sound effect.
Okay.
Just made by you.
Okay.